All right, let's just dive right into this. We're talking about SAT systems of equations today, and I want to start by completely rewiring how you think about them. This isn't about some painful algebra class. Nope, it's about playing a game. And today, you're going to learn the rules to win. And I get it. For so many students, the second you see a block of equations with all those X's and Y's, your anxiety just spikes. Or you see a word problem about tickets and coins, and your brain just kind of wants to shut down. Totally normal reaction.
But here's the thing. That feeling is based on a total myth. These problems only feel hard because chances are you've been taught the absolute least efficient way to solve them.
This right here, this is the whole mindset shift. Burn this into your brain. The SAT isn't trying to bury you in a mountain of calculations. It's testing if you can see the connection, the relationship between two lines, two ideas, two scenarios. That is the entire game.
So, if it's not about being some human calculator, what is the SAT actually asking you to do? Let's break down the real question behind the question.
Look, the test makers don't care if you can spend 10 minutes grinding through algebra. They want to know if you can spot the pattern in like 10 seconds and then pick the smartest tool for that specific job. It's a test of judgment, not just brute force computation.
Okay, so let's get into this secret that makes this whole topic suddenly feel easy. No matter how complicated a system of equations looks, there are only 3 things that can happen, ever.
That's it. Just 3. Not a million different possibilities, not 100. Every single systems problem you will ever see on the SAT funnels down into one of these 3 outcomes. And here they are. One solution is the most common one, right? 2 different lines, they cross at exactly 1 point. No solution means you've got parallel lines, same slope, they're never, ever going to meet. And infinitely many solutions? Well, that's just the SAT's sneaky way of giving you the exact same line twice, just maybe in disguise. If you can figure out which of these 3 worlds you're living in, you've basically cracked the code for the entire question. So you know the possible endings. Now how do you actually get there? This isn't about just suffering through one method you learned in class. It's about having a toolkit and choosing the smartest, fastest weapon for the fight you're in. This table, this is your whole toolkit. If you see one equation that's already solved for y or x, like y equals 2x plus 1, that is a screaming green light for substitution. It's literally designed for that. But if the equations are all lined up with the x's over the x's and y's over the y's, elimination is almost always going to be your fastest path. That stacked format is a huge signal that you can just add or subtract them and poof, a variable is gone. And what if the equations just look nasty with ugly fractions or decimals? Don't be a hero. That's a sign from the test makers to just graph it. And that brings me to your most valuable player. Seriously, using that built-in Desmos graphing calculator on the digital SAT isn't a crutch, it's what the pros do. It's elite behavior. I mean, think about it. With one click, you can instantly see the lines. You can pinpoint the exact intersection. You can see with your own eyes if they're parallel. You can literally see the answer. And even if you solve it by hand, you can pop it into Desmos to check your work in 2 seconds. It's an unbelievable advantage. Let's be clear. The SAT expects top scorers to be fluent with the tools they give you. Ignoring the graphing calculator is like a carpenter showing up to a job and ignoring their power drill. This isn't cheating, it's just being literate in the language of this test. All right, you've got the mindset, you've got the tools. Now we got to talk about defense. The SAT loves to lay these little subtle traps to catch you if you're on autopilot. So let's learn to see them coming. When you hit a word problem, your first instinct might be to panic and just start scribbling equations. Don't. The most critical step is the first one. Just stop. Take a breath. Then you're going to explicitly define your variables. Write it down. Let X equal the number of adult tickets. Seriously, if you nail the setup, the rest is a cakewalk. Next up is the SAT's absolute favorite mind game, asking you about the number of solutions. Here's the cheat code. If you're solving and all your variables cancel out, leaving you with a false statement like 0 equals 5, that's the signal for no solution. If they cancel out and you get a true statement like 0 equals 0, that's the signal for infinite solutions. Don't freak out, it's not an error, it's the answer. And finally, you got to watch out for these tiny mistakes that cost you big points. Things like dropping a negative sign by accident, or doing all this amazing work to solve for x when the question actually asks for y. And the biggest trap of them all, the question asks for the value of x plus y. Always, always reread that final line before you bubble in your answer. So why have we spent all this time on just one type of question?
Well, because it's not just one type of question, it's actually a gateway to a much higher score.
Let me be perfectly clear about this. These questions show up multiple times on every single test. You literally cannot get a top-tier score without being fast and confident with systems of equations. It is absolutely non-negotiable for a 1400, a 1500, you name it. And really, that's what it all comes down to. By understanding the structure, the three outcomes, the three methods, the common traps, you take all the fear and randomness out of the equation. These questions stop being scary. They just become predictable. So I'll ask you again, after everything we've just covered, do these problems really feel scary anymore? Or do they feel like a predictable game that you now finally know how to play? Yeah, you've got this.